Welcome back. This is part 2 of Northwest Disc Golf's coverage of the Kitsap Classic. I'm joined once again by Corey Jones of the Prodigy Disc Street Team. We have 13 holes left to go to crown a winner in this B-tier event out of Port Orchard, Washington. Corey, you all set for some final round?
Oh yeah, it's been good. Let's see this finish out.
Absolutely. So, once again, we've got Kyle Crabtree, Nick Wood, Chandler Fry, Cameron Sheehan, and Nick, after that gorgeous eagle on hole 14, is going to lead us off on hole 15. We've got 555 par 4. This is the shortest par 4 on the course. And now we're starting to get into some of the great water holes here. You can see there's a pond over there on the right, and there's OB left of the path. Makes for a pretty tight landing area once you get out to about 400 feet. So it's a short par 4, but there's a lot of danger.
Yeah, absolutely, especially the way that, which it's done on a couple of different holes, the way the tee pad is pointing you towards the OB more so than the pin itself, so it causes you to shape the shot, and in this particular hole it causes you to shape the shot towards the pond, which is a common landing spot for those that have a big enough arm and miss the angle that they were going for off the tee pad. So
yeah, definitely not an easy drive here as Cameron lining up the lefty hyzer. That's tracking a little bit towards the water. He needs that to check up. Looks like he's stopped there by the trees.
Oh yeah.
Chandler just unloaded on that one.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous drive. He's only got about 130 feet left. So we get a nice camera angle back here in the trees. This is a pretty tricky shot here for Cameron as he's playing right over the pond.
Yeah, that's a very tricky upshot, and he looks like he handled that beautifully.
Wow. Oh, almost checked up to be parked, but he's still going to have a birdie putt, and that is an excellent effort from Cameron.
Absolutely.
So here we have Nick Wood playing his second shot. He does a nice job there.
Pretty nicely.
Yeah, if you get a good drive on this hole, makes it pretty easy to get the birdie.
Absolutely.
Oh, and Cameron almost makes the really nice 3. Oh, and Kyle also chains out. So a couple of missed opportunities there as Chandler and Nick are going to cash in their birdies.
Yeah, you know, it's putting Chandler one step closer there, just narrowing that lead up and making things even a little bit more exciting as we move along.
Absolutely. Yeah, we wondered after the first few holes whether Kyle was just going to walk away with this tournament, but probably not the case here as Chandler brings it back to a 6-stroke lead going into hole 16. We've got a 330-foot downhill par 3. There's a lot of trouble there on the right with the path and the water. You can also end up in these trees on the left, so not too hard a hole, but once again, it does require a nice technical drive here.
Yeah, and you know, if there's any kind of wind in play, particularly a headwind, which there can be on this hole, or if you get a little overzealous and turn it over, there is pond on the right you have to deal with, as well as the OB. So you see Chandler being stable enough with that shot, he goes over the top of that, but ends up wide and a little bit long.
Yeah, it's a pretty good shot. He's about 35 feet right, as Kyle looks like he's going to have no problem with this shot. That is really nice.
Great shot.
And looks like Cameron, I'm surprised he didn't go with the forehand. He's trying a turnover shot, and he needs that to get legs. Oh, and he barely stays in bounds as he breathes a sigh of relief.
Yeah, big deep breath on that one, Cameron. Ooh, great run for that 2 attempt there. But yeah, it's kind of surprising he didn't go for the forehand. He has a great forehand. There's a good putt from Chandler.
Great shot. So Nick here from the bushes testing his straddle putt game. Oh, and he seems to have missed a lot of putts today just by an inch or 2.
Yeah, you know, he's had a couple more than a couple tough breaks in that department here today. But that being said, he's not missing by much. He's hitting front, he's hitting side, he's hitting top, but he's hitting cage when he's missing. So he's just that little bit off today.
So Kyle and Chandler both take birdies, keeping that 6-stroke lead separating them as we move on to hole 17. This is a 620-foot par 4, really a pretty downhill drive, one of the more dramatic tee shots, OB all the way down the right of the fairway, with some nasty trees over there, and the pin is tucked right on a really steep hill, so definitely not an easy upshot.
You can hear Chandler giving that one all he's got.
Yeah, that is a pump. Gets out into the fairway, gets a nice skip. He's not going to have too much left to go.
Yeah, this is one of those holes where you can absolutely give it all you've got, and there's plenty of room on either side. It takes a pretty drastic error to land where you don't have a shot. So that one is tracking a bit right, but you know, it looks like he's still going to be. Yep, he bounced out enough that he'll still have a shot there. So you can see that there's plenty of room to work with on this fairway.
And Cameron needs that to flip. We'll see if he stays out of the woods there.
There you go. Right next to Nick, it looks like a little behind him, thankfully, with those trees. And you can see that, especially Cameron being left-handed, he's got some room to work with that and does the best he can there. But with the hills and the trees the way they are on this hole, the 620 feet can get a little bit treacherous.
Definitely. No, definitely not a free birdie here by any means. As Chandler, with that great drive, leaves himself a pretty short upshot, and really looks like he let that one sail.
Yeah, you know, I think he may have misjudged the wind or perhaps where it was going to land. But
it
when
doesn't
you're Chandler
matter.
Fry, you can change that with a putt. So
take a second look. Nice step through putt. And, that's a really nice effort there.
Yeah, never a question in the mind there. That just came out so smooth. Great effort there from Chandler Fry.
So Cameron here from about 35 feet. Oh, that's about an inch, just an inch short.
Yeah, him and Kyle as well. Yeah, you know, a little bit of rollaway there with Kyle's too. That is just unfortunate. Yeah, you know, both Cameron and Nick have had quite a few of those off the front. Great comeback from Kyle there to clean up that unfortunate event. And there's Nick making good on that birdie putt to make up on those ones that he's missed.
So Cameron taps out his par as we move on to hole 18. So with another birdie, Chandler brings it back to a 5-stroke lead. He's 9 under for the round, definitely putting together a good score. So hole 18, a 600-foot par 4. This is a really tricky par 4, but a really nice reward if you can snake a long drive through that first tree gap, as the pin is pretty wide open down there. And it's one of the few holes where there really isn't any OB. It's pretty much free shooting if you can make it through this first gap.
Yeah, that's
Chandler
what they
nicely.
used as the you see Chandler make that shot pretty much textbook, but that's what they use to create most of the trouble on this hole, is that low ceiling. You could see Nick hitting it, but having enough power that he still gets through and makes it out. But that's pretty much the biggest challenge on this hole, is making it through this gap and allowing yourself the room and the angle that you want for that upshot, which there's more than enough room once you're out anywhere in that fairway.
Yeah, Kyle does a nice job getting himself good ways out there. As see if Cameron can make it 4 for 4, getting out into the fairway for the group. And much like Nick, he hits some tree, but gets a little bit of love there. And so all 4 of these guys are going to have a chance to attack this pin.
There is some northwest weather at its finest.
Yeah, it looks like the sun's peeking out for these guys. I definitely heard from everyone that it was a really gorgeous weekend. Pretty lucky not to have not to have too much wind out there, as you can definitely get a lot out on the West Sound.
Absolutely. I've had the privilege to play the course more than a handful of times myself, and there tends to be a theme of some wind out there. So these guys are playing in some of the more scoreable conditions, as you could see with the scores that they put down in the first round. Not to take away from the talent that it takes to get these scores by any means, but I think that it was in their, it was an advantage for them that the weather was as it was.
Definitely, especially for an April tournament. Yeah, nice job by Nick. We'll get to see another replay here. Playing out of that Scotch broom, about 35 feet. Really nice putt. As Kyle taps in another birdie. Just looking pretty automatic out there.
Yeah, he's had a few hiccups, but I feel like he's back to the rhythm that he had to get to where he is.
Definitely. And with that, looks like we have another star frame. Great work from this card, making that par 4 look a lot easier than it is. So we move on to hole 19. We have a 340-foot par 3. This is another one of those tricky holes where these players are playing from the out of bounds, really forcing you to decide whether you want to pump it out around these last two trees and risk hitting and dropping into the out of bounds here. Really unique hole.
Yeah, it's a tough one in the design that it is, but it's very scoreable, especially in the conditions as they are now. A lot of the problem you're going to face, especially as a right-hand backhand player, is trying to go wide enough and catching wind or trees, as you said. And you can see Nick seems to have caught that outside tree that you mentioned, and it's doing its job as a guardian tree. So just another good example of deciding the distance and the landing zone, what you think you're going to be able to pull off. And you can see Kyle gets that unfortunate grab from the grass here, because you don't necessarily get the skips that you think you would on a lot of this grass that is a little longer on these ball golf courses. So
yeah, as Cameron makes 3 in a row out of bounds, so Chandler's going to have a good chance to pick up some strokes. So this is Kyle on his re-tee, and you can tell there's no fear from him. He's going right at the pin. Does a good job getting in bounds that time. So a little bonus action from Nick there.
Oh, just making sure the camera was on for that good run from Cameron there.
Yeah, good attempt for par, and here's Nick for his par. Oh, wow. That's
Great
too
run.
much chains to catch to miss.
There's Chandler taking big advantage of what's going on this hole.
Yeah, Chandler takes 2 strokes on the card. Starts to put a little bit more pressure on Kyle going into the back third of this course.
Yeah, you know, and it's going to put a little bit more pressure on Nick, too. I mean, he's now got a 4-stroke deficit to second place, so he's going to have to really put the gas down to make the move that he needs to make.
So hole 20, this is the course, the only big par 5. This is 990 feet, longest hole on the course, and this is a really cool hole. It's got OB all the way along the right, and about 500 feet down, you can see there's water on the left, and goes back uphill, and the pin is tucked up here left in a grove of trees. So definitely a hole that's going to test these guys' ability to strategically carve this hole up.
Yeah, if you had to pick one hole to sum up Horseshoe Lake, I think this is it. I mean, it's beautiful, it's picturesque. You got the long rolling hills, there's the pond that comes into play, you have OB. I mean, you have pretty much every element you can ask for out of any disc golf course, all crammed into one of the nicer holes out there. So, can't ask for much more out here.
So after 2 nice shots from Nick and Chandler, we've got a really nice crush from Kyle. That is gorgeous. That has got to be 500 downhill.
That's a great play from Kyle there. Cameron uncorked that one. He needs it to come back a little bit.
When he gets some tree love there.
It's going to be a particularly hard approach as a lefty with the OB in the pond, but he gets enough flex out of it that it's going to play safe. Not the ideal landing zone, but he'll be able to play from there and hopefully salvage at least a par.
So Chandler, after a pretty nice drive, It's not going to get him too close to the pin, but he's only going to have about 120 feet to the basket from there.
Yeah, it looks like Chandler and Nick had potentially maybe some footing issues. You could hear a little bit of wet, a little bit of slippage down there, but they're both playing decent shots from where they're at, so they can't be too upset with it.
Kyle, you can hear him asking for that disc to get up and go. Pretty good shot there. He's going to have about 60 feet for his eagle putt.
Cameron's struggling there from the lie that he had, doing a little bit of scramble golf here on this hole.
Yeah, I didn't really have too much of an angle to attack the pin. As Nick is gonna puts a pretty good shot up there, a little bit long. He's got about 25 feet left.
Nice up shot from Chandler there.
Chandler. So here's Cameron for birdie. It looked like that came out weak right out of his hands. And here's Kyle for an eagle. Oh, wow.
Right off the front of the cage. He needed that for that little bit of extra separation between himself and Chandler.
Yep, so looks like Chandler's going to have a putt here to keep that lead to just 3 strokes. And Nick there, unfortunate missing that birdie as Chandler puts in a nice 4 here on the monster par 5. So what are we looking at here? Chandler and Kyle taking birdies, keeping that 3-stroke separation. Nick and Cameron with pars. So hole 21, 600-foot par 4. This is one of the more technical holes on the course. Unlike a lot of the holes here, the OB, the path is just going to play like a creek. So as long as you don't land right on the cart path, there's really no OB danger. But you have trees all the way down here. This is definitely a really fun par 4.
Yeah, you know, it gives a lot for the players in the way of options, more so than you would think looking at the gap. It looked like Chandler was going for a big turnover. You see Kyle going with the forehand just for I would say, the safer approach out of there. I myself, when I play the hole, I attack it with a roller, a backhand roller, being right-handed. There's just veritable options to attack this hole, and it's one of the tougher ones out there for sure.
Definitely. So you can see Cameron here. He's going to try to play a flex shot. Oh, he just catches a tree. Unfortunate break there.
Yeah, that's a great route. Not one that I've seen myself, but being right-handed, it's not something that I would have ever thought to do. You see Nick going for the big turnover there. Looks like it rolled out away from where he wanted it to be, but luckily stays off that ball golf green to the left there that plays out of bounds.
Chandler going with a low stinger shot, and he looks like he's trying to bring it all the way up through the forest, and really great shot there. He's only about 15 feet from the pin.
Yeah, that was absolutely all you could ask for and then some. I mean, he's looking at a pretty easy tap-in putt there, so...
Cameron, best drive of the group, but unfortunately is not going to leave him with a chance at birdie. Ooh, as Nick almost sinks that 90-footer.
Yeah, he gave that all he had for sure. That was a great effort from Nick there.
So here's Kyle. Oh, that's a nice birdie putt there through the trees.
A little bit of extra bonus points for the through the tree style shot.
And we're going to get to see that once again on replay. Definitely a pressure putt here with 6 holes to go. That's a big one for him. As you can see there, Chandler is chasing, keeping it going with another birdie. So yeah, it looks like we've got a 2-man horse race here for the finish.
Yeah, at this point, these guys are just pedal to the metal. They're taking everything they can. They're not leaving much for anybody behind them.
Yeah, so Chandler with that moves to 13 under for the round. Kyle's at 11 under. As we move on to hole 22. Another par 4. This is 700 feet. Another kind of bomber's dream hole. A lot of these sort of downhill drives give you a lot of airspace to work with. The only real danger here is if you end up left of the cart path. Closer to pin, there's a little bit of risk OB long.
Yeah, this is going to play as a pretty standard backhand shot for most of these guys. Probably Cameron included in it being left-handed, but you know, that was a pretty great drive from Chandler there, just really taking advantage of all the room he's got.
Oh wow, that is a huge drive for Kyle.
Yeah,
And
he
looks like he's gonna get
unloaded
some
on
skip.
that one.
Yeah, and keeping it in the middle of that fairway. He's gonna probably only have about 250 feet left of the pin. And you can see Nick is following pretty much the exact same line. He might even be cutting that a little bit closer. Though it looks like he might be a little bit short of that tree.
Just a little bit there, yeah. I mean, they all have gotten some pretty good drives off of this hole here. I mean, where Cameron's going to be from that side, he'll have a pretty wide open look at the pin. Just has to be careful about shooting towards that OB. Looks like he's trying to play a little bit of a skip there. That played out real nice for him.
Great shot. Chandler here, taking the putter shot. Does a nice job landing up there short. Doesn't want to test that OB.
Kyle giving that one a run there.
Yeah, and you can see there, I mean, a 700-foot hole. Looks like Kyle only had about 150 feet to the pin. Same thing with Nick here, so these guys are all clearing 500 feet off the tee.
Absolutely. I mean, they can both throw. I mean, they can all throw really far without the elevation, and being able to play that downhill with the right to left finish just really plays into the big distance for the backhand that these guys are throwing. So, getting some phenomenal shots out of this card today.
Absolutely.
Great putt from Cameron there.
As you can see, we have a star frame. Nice job making that hole look easy.
Absolutely.
So no movement on the leaderboard here as we move to hole 23. 5 holes to go. And now we're going to move into a set of shorter holes, so kind of deuce or die holes. 270-foot par 3, one of the shorter holes on the course, but it's a completely blind drive with a lot of OB. So you really have to be careful here off the tee if you're looking for a birdie. Ooh, as you can see, Chandler ends up out of bounds. Unfortunate.
Yeah, it can be a more difficult hole, especially being blind. If you haven't played it before, it may be hard to dial in the correct amount of power depending on the shot and angle that you choose. But it's a really good hole with the course design, and it makes one of the shorter holes feel a little bit longer, feel a little bit more technical. So it's going to be a scoring separator for a lot of the field.
Absolutely, as Cameron laces a gorgeous shot there. He's going to be really close, and that is a huge par save for Chandler.
Absolutely.
Have to see that one again.
Yeah, he's having a great round right now. I mean, cleans up that little bit of mistake, and I believe that keeps him at 14 under for the round.
Definitely. Oh, and Kyle gets all of the basket there. Does not want to stay down. And Nick also missing a putt he knows that he could have made.
Yeah, that's
so looks like Cameron's
unfortunate.
So looks like Cameron's going to take the only birdie here. Nice job by Cameron there.
Put together a respectable round.
Definitely. So 4 holes to go, and here we have probably perhaps the gorgeous signature hole here, at least from a visual perspective. This is a really beautiful shot. I almost want to make this my wallpaper on my computer.
Yeah, wouldn't blame you. Yeah, this is a beautiful shot. Another one where, 270 feet. Ooh, great shot from Cameron. The length, including the fact that it's downhill, isn't something that makes it a daunting hole. Looking at that water can change your perspective. Looking at the OB behind it, these things can change the way you throw it. These guys so far are making short, easy work of this beautiful pond hole here.
Wow, yeah, great shot there from Kyle. And See if Nick can round it out. Taking that.
It's looking
water
pretty
out of
nice.
play. Sounds like they were looking for an ace run there.
Absolutely. Good birdie from Kyle there. Chandler keeping pace with him there, not giving him any room. Really just trying to hunt that lead down as much as he can.
Definitely, although he's starting to run out of track with 3 holes to go, but certainly it's disc golf, so anything can happen here as we move on to hole 25. Another short one, 280-foot par 3. This is a really fun little hole. The path and this little strip between the orange flags and the path is OB, so it plays sort of like an artificial river. As we see another one of the woodland creatures out here.
Yeah, that was the spotter for the event, old Chippy. No, I don't know, but it's always good to see the natural wildlife enjoying the disc golf with us.
So Cameron taking a wide hyzer, barely misses that tree on the left, and that is stuck.
Yeah, that was a textbook shot there. Looked like he was throwing one of his OGD ones there. Big hyzer spike. Nice turnover shot from Chandler to follow suit. Might even be closer.
Kyle's going to take the forehand approach and just gets the skip over the path there. Narrowly misses out of bounds, but he'll have another easy birdie putt since he's over. Oh, and Nick is even closer. He just skipped over the flags there and cans a 40-footer. Great putt from Nick.
Nice birdie putt there.
Yeah, we've been really treated to a clinic in putting here today.
Absolutely.
Cameron drops in a 15-footer as Chandler and Kyle have tap-ins for birdie. Okay, so we've got 2 holes to go. Chandler moves to 16 under for the round. Still a 3-stroke lead for Kyle Crabtree. And hole 26, we've got a 280-foot par 3. The path there on the left is OB, but it's not too much of a factor here since it's pretty short. Really just a fun snake shot through these trees.
Yeah, the OB doesn't come into play too much unless something pretty drastic happens. Ooh, right, it sounded like that was off the pin or the bucket there. It's a pretty straightforward hole. This is one that everybody's going to have to look at as a must-get with these last 2 holes coming in.
Yeah, as Chandler keeps it to about 5 feet. It's a great shot. See if Kyle can follow suit. And he does.
Yeah, they are not letting up at all here.
Nick going with the forehand. Looks like it's probably the widest line there, and gets a nice skip. These guys are really on fire. See if we can get our 3rd consecutive star frame.
Yeah, this is phenomenal disc golf we're getting to watch right now from these Northwest pros.
Nice birdie for Nick.
I think Cameron's only concern is not hitting his head on the cage when he picks his disc up on that one.
Okay, so we head into our final hole. Kyle still with a 3-stroke lead over Chandler, but the 27th hole definitely has a little bit more opportunity for separation. Short par 4, but it's a tricky one. It's downhill, OB to the right of the path, water on the left, and there's actually a wide artificial river there between those 2 sets of orange flags, so it puts about a 60-foot OB barrier right in front of the hole.
Yeah, this is, as you said, this is one that you can expect to see some scoring separation throughout the field. Very technical in the sense of getting off the tee with the right amount of angle. And once you're out there, it's a pretty daunting upshot. There's a lot you have to contend with, so it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys finish out.
Looks like Chandler unfortunately aired out his drive to the left, so he's going to have a pretty dramatic 350-foot upshot to get his birdie if he wants to challenge Kyle.
Yeah, and with a drive like that, Kyle's definitely not leaving much room for error here. Chandler's going to have to do something pretty amazing to come back from the 2 strokes that he needs, 2 or 3 strokes.
Don't do it. Oh, that's too high.
So Cameron here lining up a backhand shot. See if that has enough to get over the flags, and unfortunately he is out of bounds there. Comes up about 2 feet short.
Yeah,
now we've got Chandler here.
Those flags definitely choke that green off quite a bit, and it's hard to see from the video just how small that green is, but it's quite the landing zone. They don't give you a whole lot of room there. So
yeah, and Chandler just clears the out of bounds, does a nice job, so he is going to have about a 40-footer for a birdie on the last hole.
Oh my goodness, Nick there was getting robbed. I mean, that was, you can't ask for a better shot.
Oh wow, and that was from about 250 feet out, and you can hear there's a gallery on the last hole. They wanted to see that go in.
Wow, yeah, just some amazing disc golf from these guys today. It's been a privilege.
So Kyle threw pretty quick there, but he actually came up OB, so Kyle's going to have a little bit of work left to do to put this tournament away. As Cameron lays up from the out of bounds. Kyle does a nice job laying up, so he's going to have a bogey putt. And Chandler unfortunately misses that birdie. That would have actually put a little bit of pressure on Kyle. And instead, he's going to have an easy tap in for the win. Nice work there from Kyle, wrapping up the Kitsap Classic.
Absolutely. Great work from these guys.
Get some love from the crowd. Everyone's a lot of enthusiastic support. Really big field here this weekend. There were actually 200 players out here. Great to see so many people come out for just a second-year event.
Absolutely. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, so Kyle Crabtree takes the 2-stroke win over Chandler Fry. Thanks for watching, and please support Northwest Disc Golf on Patreon, and keep on watching all the disc golf action.